Hello? Is my mic working? Hello, I'm alive! Um, so yeah, it's been a bit. I've been busy. Life's been a thing. However, I have a little bit of time, and I've been doing a lot of testing in gear blocks lately. Essentially, I've still been fascinated with the CVT systems I've been doing, and experimenting around with them. Now, I do have a new prototype that I've been working on that is in a functional state. However, I have some problems with this, and I kind of want to just restart from the ground up. So this is a new CVT design. You have a little Boxer 4 engine going into my centrifugal clutch. This is set up in such a way where it only really allows the engine to engage at its highest RPM. This is then going to a belt drive centrifugal clutch. And that is measuring the RPM of the engine. Once the engine hits a high enough RPM, it starts to shift this down in this case. And this is two balls rolling on two plates in such a way where the contact patches are what is doing the CVT job. Now then, make sure I can actually see chat. This is the prototype I've been working on. I eventually want to rebuild this thing from scratch today during the stream. Part of the reason is I really want to lower the center of mass of the vehicle, lower the center of the mass of the vehicle. As you can see, I do have some weighted plates on the bottom, but I also want to try and make the gearbox itself shorter. I don't want to make it horizontal because then it'll be affected by acceleration, deceleration. I don't want to make it horizontal this way because then it'll be affected by turning. I want to keep it vertical like it is now. However, that comes with the problem of size and rotational motion because there is a flywheel in the center of the CVT, which I do have a counter spinning weight to help with that. But the counter spinning weight is not helping with the center of mass issue whatsoever. So, real quick, as we mess around with this early prototype, I'm going to grab some logic here, just so I can get some numbers up on the screen. And this will be one of them. Nope, wrong node. And I also want to grab a speed sensor. Set you to material. Speed and position. So now, as I start the engine, the position reads where the actual gear is at. Handling is the problem I'm trying to address with the next prototype, hence why I'm trying to lower the center of mass and do a bunch of weight shifting with where the CVT and stuff are going to be. As for everything else, the acceleration is pretty good. The shifting does really well. The suspension, I did something experimental with some pistons, and I'm not quite happy with it. So that's also another reason why I want to redesign this entirely. So, here in a second, we're going to start from scratch. I'm going to rebuild an engine and just about everything else for this as well. So let's grab this. Let's delete it. And let's head over here for a little bit and start building. While I'm here, I'm also going to throw on some music. Video effects library, music, new stream. There we go. Play with media player. There we go. Just a little bit of background music as we begin. I'm going to try and make this as light as possible, so I am going to go with like carbon fiber, everything basically. 4-cylinder, I'm going to go with boxer just to make it simpler and smaller. Yeah, crank. Let's do this at 90. And those who may not know, I like to do 4-cylinder, small block 4-cylinder, just because it's a basic, simple engine. Of course, I could make a faster car with like a V10 engine, but I want to see what I can get out of the lowest, smallest, slowest engine. The lowest, smallest, slowest engine. Okay, that was just me checking on the stream audio real quick. And actually, in this case, I am just going to grab my own car and copy a few things from it. Having to remember some of the keybinds. It's been a little bit since I played this game a lot. Of course, I did build this car the other day, but even then, some of the muscle memory is still coming back to me. I've been doing well, Swing. Let's go ahead and grab the clutch. I'm just going to yank the clutch out of this one. So if you weren't here when I kind of did the little intro swing, I've been working with this. This is a prototype CVT that I did. It worked really well, so I built it into a car just to do some more testing. And it's got a few issues I want to try and address with a new design. This design I'm building from the ground up to be a race car. Whereas this was originally intended to be a proof of concept, just to make sure everything worked the way I wanted it to before I got too far into this. But now that I know it works, we're going to put in a lot more effort into making this as nice as I can. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some people joining the stream and like immediately leave, and that was just because I was doodling this around. I'm just going to get the player HUD up because I don't feel like putting the electronics back in to get this going. Player HUD. Here we go. So this is just a small block 4-cylinder. This is a Boxer 4. And 9G, a full G of acceleration out of a little small block 4-cylinder During testing, I was able to achieve 0 to 60 in like 3.4 seconds out of this rig. I did add some weight since then, so I don't think it can still match that sort of speed. And it has a top speed in like the 230s, 250s, I think. The problem I'm running into is handling. Just issues with the suspension, how I designed it, could really be improved. And the center of mass is way too high because of how big the transmission is. I need to actually find my... Come here. You, come here. And you, come here too. There we go. Easier than going to find it. Alright, you... Here... I need to have a pulley, because this is what's going to read the RPM for shifting. I need a plate. I'm going to steal one out of this card just because these are already the right size for what I want to do. And part of how I want to get this working and make it as small as I can is I want to essentially stagger these. Can I have this, please? There we go. I want to stagger these plates. But I'm not sure how I can do this well. Because I want to do a half plate. I want to make this transmission basically as small as I can. Both saving on weight, but also lowering the center of mass as much as I can. Problem is, the ball is probably going to roll right through here. Hello, Mahasi? Mr. Mahasi, I think that is. Welcome to the stream. I'm basically going to be redesigning this vehicle from scratch to be smaller, more lightweight, more efficient. Because what I want is these are going to basically sit here and roll, but they need room to move up and down. So what I might do... I hate when it gives me the grab right behind the stretch. Is set it like here. And just have the other ball connected back there. Because this one should start down here. No, that's not going to work. I don't want to make a smaller transmission. I don't want to make a smaller like gear ratio. I want this physical size to be smaller. But the actual gear range that I can go through to be the same size. I think this is one of those things where I'm just going to have it this big. But with some gear routing, I can keep the actual weighted components low. Alright, I'm going to go with that. So that's going to be there. And this is going to go into a final drive system, because we're going to need a lot of acceleration. So this, I have a 2.75 here. There we go. So this is effectively going to be the output of the engine. Which really makes me feel like this is going to turn out to be extremely F1. I almost want to try something else too. Busy. I've been busy with life. Okay. Let's start working on the carriage for the shifting mechanism. Because this thing is going to slide up and down. And then this up and down motion needs... Essentially, it's going to hug the shift system. So real quick, I'm just going to throw something in here so I can get this mounted where I want it to eventually be. Realize there's also invisible blocks I could use for this. Hindsight's 2020. So that's good there. There. Oh, God. Phlegm. So this will go up and down, and I also needed to pull back. So what I want to do is I actually just want to get these past the wheels. Yeah, I've been playing like in my free time. I just haven't had anything to really show, nor the time to just stream like I am now. And then what I want is. Don't mind the flashing. Do do dum do dum do dum do dum do dum. These. Let's grab rod. I am basically going to be redesigning this car. This is a CVT race car. It's got a few flaws, hence why I'm redesigning it. This was intended to be a prototype, but it worked out so well that I actually started building it. In testing, it can do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds with a small block 4-cylinder. This is a slightly heavier version. That has like little weights there. Some of the issues are center of mass, and I just need to tune handling. I did some experiments with piston suspension, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, so I'm going to be going back to spring suspension. This was just a lot of ideas slammed together. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Hence why I'm redesigning it with the things that worked and replacing the things that didn't. Cool. Alright, so we were here building this. And this wants to come back. Ooh, that lines up really nicely. I'm going to steal that pin. Wait, are those? Oh, is that not so nice? Is that? Oh no, no, that fits. Okay, never mind. Wait, wait, does it fit? No. All right, it's okay. I know how to make it fit. I'll make it fit. So I'm going to grab. Are you not fitting suddenly? What's the problem? Is it the clutch here? Do I need to just move these out one? I'll do that. Be so much simpler. Going with the flow. I don't have a like a schematic. This is just, hey, I had an idea in mind. I built the idea. It kind of worked, kind of didn't. Now I'm doing it again with the knowledge I have now gained. Um, Somewhere in here I have them. Here they are. Nope, that's not it. This is it. I'm just going to steal this. Let's turn these on. Kiss. All right. Something's not right here. You are not attached properly. There we go. Ah. Mistake has been made. Oh, a mistake has been made. There's just not enough force there to hold that. So let's see if this is a little more stable of a design. Yes. Seems to be spinning on its own. Not the best. I would like it to actually function the way it's intended to. Alright. Let's do that. And let's set the peak force to like 50. Hopefully that doesn't introduce wonky physics anymore. So now, as this one spins, they both spin, so they are linked. Hydrodynamics mode. Okay. I'm not really worried about hydrodynamics or aerodynamics right now. Eventually, like, yeah, it would be really nice for a build like this, but I'm not gonna bother with it really. Okay. So let's go ahead and get the shifter assembly started. And for that, I want to grab gear. Little 3-rack gear. I'm gonna put it up here. Yeah, I don't have a design. It's just whatever I can make work. I'm trying to keep the center of mass as low as possible because this is going to effectively be a race car. Right, where's my... There it is. So, what I want to do is have that here. No, I don't. Because I need to have a clutch in here. And I need the room for that. Clutch. Why are you not attached? Oh, somehow I yoinked. Okay. I don't know how I did that, but I did. And then this needs a big pulley. So now yeah, I know the clutch is unsupported. I could support the clutch. Um, okay. Also, that's sliding back and forth, so that won't even work. Never mind. I need to also get a starter motor slipped into here somewhere. Even though that will fit, it adds this little bump down here, which if I'm going for ground clearance, I don't want that. I could, if we spread this out, possibly put it into the transmission, but then it's not going to connect to the gears. No. Huh. No. You're my output shaft. Hydrostatic pulley. This isn't a pulley-based CVT. So this CVT is based off of friction disc, a friction disc CVT. The reason I'm using 2 discs in this design is one, because, well, actually the main reason is just I can get a larger span of gear ratios by having 2 discs moving. Which is my big thing of like, I just need the power output. I need that larger span of gear ratios for the torque I'm planning to put through this. Basically, it gives me a lot of low torque CVT, but also it gives me a lot of high end range. So this can do 0 to 6. Like, this design was designed to do 0 to 60 in like 3.4 seconds and have a top speed like of 250. Invert. No, invert solenoid. All the power, all the things. Start on G. Out of all curiosity, can I get you to go one lower if I put a plate in there? Get that off there. You don't fit. Why don't you fit? You don't fit because the gear. Okay. What if I were to do L plate, attach you to the bottom of that? You don't fit because the gear. Is it the gear? All right. Out of pure curiosity, what if I put the starter? That doesn't mesh, does it? Let's see what meshes real quick. So like a 1.5 or something. There we go. Problem is, I think it meshes regardless of where it's at now. So what I need to do in this situation is to have... This is where the L plate would come in. And you are just... Okay. I think instead of using a starter motor, I might just do an actual servo motor. With a clutch gear. This G, no, G, all the things I can give it. And then G, all the things I can give it. let's see if we can get this started. No, I don't think there is any sort of actual boost. Alright, and real quick, just for the sake of doing it, I'm going to slap a seat somewhere here. Something is not spinning. You? Yes, you. Okay. Okay, you are spinning, you are spinning, you are spinning, you are spinning, you are spinning. You are spinning. Why are we not... wait. I have an idea of what's going on. Or what might be going on, I should say. There we go. Let's get a little copper flywheel in here. Nope. Pin in it. Oh, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I don't have my tuned engine here. There we go. Alright, in this case, I actually want this to start lower and then move up as it shifts. I had a prototype for cannons and it was working great. As soon as I put it into a chassis, the game just died. Like I put it into an actual rolling tank, like turret and all of the fun. Game wouldn't handle it. Just could not. When it was mounted to the ground, like welded to the ground, it worked fine. As soon as it wasn't bolted down, the game just freaked out. So now, if I actually put a proper flywheel on the output, just to get some stress on this engine. Time to tune the shifting mechanism. And for that, I would like to have an L plate. And have that go to an actual plate. Because my plan is to put my spring assembly here. We're going to start with a linear piston. That's going to go there. And I'm also going to put in a shock. I might need another one of these. I don't know yet. This is going to have no spring rate, all the dampening. I'm just going to clone the numbers from this shifter. We're gonna make a new one. We're gonna make a new chassis for this. So real quick, let's just throw on a gear so we can get an RPM output. Oh, that's hitting the copper. That's not what I need. Small cylinder. This is a Boxer 4 small cylinder. Alright, bigger weight. Oh. I actually don't know if this is timed correctly. Oh, I know it's not timed correctly, because this should be not at 90. This is what? One. There should be 3. Should be 2. 4, I believe. Or is this 3? Hello. This should be 4. There we go. Oh. Oh, this thing is evil. This thing is okay. All right. Cool. Okay. This is nice. I like this a lot. Hello. No. Part of me wants to make this not like an F1 style car. I almost want to do it as a like street car. You did it again. You attached. I told you not to. This dude. I made this offline. Basically, I'm taking this engine and transmission system and trying to make it smaller and lighter to improve the handling of this concept. I also don't like how the suspension turned out on this, so not only are we making the engine transmission smaller, we're trying to improve everything else about this system. Transmission is really the only thing that worked out of that car. It's about to get a little bit smaller. Um, For the sake of, I was about to say, for the sake of realism, I want to put a fan on here, but I'm like, not really. All right, let's do the rear suspension, like right here on top of the engine. And we'll see if we need to make any changes in a second. Because now is where I want to have the gear come in. Have the wheels coming out. Well, this is supposed to be like a race. I guess when you say time attack, I'm assuming you're talking about like a souped up stock car. And when I say stock car, I mean stock car, not modern stock car racing, which is nothing is stock. Did I get this wrong? Gears. All right. And let's see what wheels we want to toss into this. Racing wheels. Let's go with the smaller racing wheels for right now. Ooh. Ooh, I like. That is like, as soon as I put suspension on that, it'll give me just a little bit of ride height, and I think that's what I need. So we're going to go like this. And yeah, I mean, like how people will soup up their own cars and take them to the track. They'll take an actual like stock car from a dealership and soup it up. That's what I meant when I said stock car, like an actual stock car, not the fucking modern interpretation of a stock car. Something I actually want to do in this scenario. Where's that? No, it's in connectors. There we go. This will allow me to actually set some custom values for the suspension. So if I do, say, -7 and -6, I actually want to bring that up to 6 and 7. You know what? 7 and 8. And then 7 and... Is this going to be -6? There we go. And that raises the suspension ever so slightly. And I can use that as a fine tune for the ride height at the rear. So let's do like 15 and 14. 15 and 14. A modern Delamon. Yeah, alright. Just for the fun of it, real quick, I am going to just slap on some wheels on the front of this just so this can roll. And I want to see what sort of acceleration we're looking at right now. Ah, that's an issue. No more flywheel for the engine. Okay, I know what's going on here. Something here has not been set to rotate. Maybe. Hopefully. Oh, it's this. Let's do plate. At least I thought it would be. Is this one of those things where it says it's not colliding, but it actually is? Yep. .3 Gs of acceleration. Alright, you need to tune down. I think you can go back up to 50. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Okay. This can go back up to like 130, I think. I don't think it makes a difference in this game, actually, what surface you're on. Because there was 1.2 right there. You don't even have the acceleration grip up all the way. One of the issues this is hitting right now is that this is just too powerful and that it's bouncing around in gears. Okay. Whoop, get back here. I think what this needs is another... spring to help dampen this. Like, the other design I had like 3 springs to do dampening. Anyway, I'll try on the pavement in a second. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, let's set this back to like 150, see if we can... I'm trying to see if we can get that like 1.3 Gs again. There it is. 130. And let's see, do I have you set? Let's do like P. No. I want that 1.3 Gs. That was honestly impressive. There it is. It's just a small block, 4-cylinder. There's no number editing in it. So like, yes, it's all within the sliders. There's no extreme numbers in the engine. I think 140 is probably the best because I can see the 1.3 pick up there for a second. It's just I also don't like when it's just shifting up and down rapidly. All right. Front end time. I'm honestly just gonna try the stupidest, simplest suspension I can. Hmm. The seat is being a bitch. I might turn no collision on just for the seat. Can I get it below the lip here? No. Darn it. Yeah, I may just move the suspension up. Actually, it kind of depends on where it lands, because that rear suspension's really high. Yeah, I'm going to move the suspension up, see if it does work. It does. Cool. Suspension still. I want this one. I think at some point a moment ago I said something about I'm going to make the simplest I can. Yeah, that was a lie. I am adding a sway bar. That's what I'm doing. A rod that holds the suspension down here? Is that what you're referring to? Oh, I cut this on. Oh, I see what you're saying. I can't do that now that I'm putting a sway bar in. Oh, never mind. I know what you're saying now. Don't mind me. This rod. There we go. Yes, that would have been smarter. Actually, I'm going to make this out of aluminum because I'm sorry, that is not a carbon fiber suspension part. Feck. This should completely collapse. Okay, I see what's happening here. There we go. Now, as this one lifts, it tries to lift the other one. There we go. Sway bar. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did there on the back end to do on the front end to give myself some variable suspension. And disconnect. No, not. Cool. That won't serve the function I need it to. Let's do 15, 14. Cool. Could you run the mount for that to the mount to the sway bar? I see what you're saying. I might have to reorganize this a little bit. Oh, you're still. No. I think there is enough clearance. No. So I'd have to run. Now I'm also a little curious. Even more complexity. It's perfect. Yes. Yes, it is. Let's dial these down to like 0, 1. go ahead and get these riding where I want them to. Let's get -5, -6. +5, +6. Let's give it just a little more, so 4, 5. 4, 5. I did not make these so that they could rotate. Cool. And my transmission got stuck again. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I'm just going to leave a gap for the transmission. Here we go. Oh, brakes are really heavy on the front. Spring rate, let's dial that down. So much more stable than my last design already. Okay, front. This needs to have a lot less braking in it. You know you're doing something right when the game says no. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Accelerate. 1.1 Gs. Let's get this on the pavement. I think that rear axle I could bring in a little bit. Front brakes are still too heavy, way too heavy. I also need to reduce the rear brakes because those are just locking. Cornering grip could be better on these. Let's do 1.76 for right now. I can see that wheel lifting off a little bit. I want to... .70. braking performance could be better already. Oh, just that. Ooh. Okay, the front end needs to be a little bit lighter. I need it to dip into the ground when I brake, not just lose all control whatsoever. I'm having to, like, baby the throttle just to get it off of the dirt. Before we do anything else, I'm going to do this. So now, it'll set me here. Okay, can I get a little more turning out of this? Alright, I want to put a little weight under the front end. Like a little disc of weight. I'm going to start with gold. And then I want to crank this up a little higher. I need better turning performance. So I'm going to sacrifice get back here. A little bit of acceleration. I want this as well. Did I make anything here gold by accident? These to be a little bit lighter as well. Because I want the vehicle to roll a bit into that corner. Okay, not that much. I'm gonna crank you actually back up. And turn you guys down a bit. I just don't have the steering. So these here are like vertical up and down, and this spring is what controls the sway. Actually, for this, I'm going to get rid of the dampening, because in my experience, dampening doesn't do anything on the sway bar. It just makes things bad. I say that, and I'm going to immediately turn it back up. Stop clicking on that. I'm going to turn it back to where it was. And we're going to crank up the steering. I do think I need to increase this again. At least a little bit. Or at least raise this up some. Because we were dragging the front end. When I added that weight, the suspension in the front just completely collapsed. Alright, I want the sway bar to be a bit stiffer. Also want that rear end to be stiffer. Might need a sway bar in the rear. The car weighs 223 units right now. Alright, let's move our little weight disc back a little bit. Let's actually mount it here. Thing is, I'm trying to go as light as I can just because I'm using a small 4-cylinder engine to power this entire beast. Okay. Waiting at the rear didn't seem to work the way I wanted it to. Let's move this little weight medallion we've made to where the seat is at. Move it forward a little more. I want to give it a little more sway. Let's go back down. Let's I think I don't really want to widen the wheelbase. I like the way this looks. I am going to add a little more weight. I'm going to change that to lead. And that brings the car up to 200 and... How much did that weigh before? 220. $225. Okay. Okay. Few things I want to do. I'm going to shorten this rear a bit. Hopefully that doesn't hit the engine. I'm noticing something as well. Is my steering geometry correct? Okay, I'm going to push this back forward. At the moment, there is no downforce components without, like, modding and stuff. I've added, like, 50 pounds to this now. Let's reduce the roll on the front end. There's more roll one way than the other, which is kind of funny. Which makes me want to drop that suspension. Actually, no, not that suspension. So it doesn't roll this way, but it rolls this way. So that means I need to increase this suspension, I think? Brakes still need a lot of work. Alright, a few things. I don't want to deal with a rear sway bar right now. We might look into it. Um, Brakes need some work. I also want to tune the transmission a little more. I want to reduce how much it's just jumping, especially with the weight that we have now. I'd rather for smoother power delivery. There's 1.8. I feel like this is just the best. I might have to add another dampener onto there. Yeah. Rear brakes are too powerful. Something I want to do while I'm here. Open that differential up a little bit. Not without redesigning the not without redesigning the front end. Actually, it would just be a single piston I would have to change, basically. Okay, that's a lot more manageable, I say, before crashing. I want to have the weight balance be a bit further back. Alright. Let's tune the brakes down a little bit more. The rear end is basically just going to be non-existent. Okay. So I'm going to balance these back out then. No, the back lift is doing it, but it's not like doing it the same way it was before. That was doing it just like on a straightaway. Whereas that's we're taking a hard turn at high speeds. Now there's just not enough weight back. I want to see something. Oh, just... Oh. Having it so that when wheel lifts, the other wheel just isn't enough to keep the friction, so it starts to burn, like it starts to drift. I actually want to see if we do like just past where the front end loses control. I think this might be drivable with enough practice. That is not enough. Okay. There's like 250 we had a really good run. want to do a few things. I want to remove the smoothing. It seems like it's holding the brake longer than I'm telling it to. That was not good. Oh, that power slide through that corner. Oh. Oh, stay together. Little bit of weight and a lot of tweaking to the brakes. Ooh. That the rear end just shattered. Hello. Long time, yeah? Oh, it didn't immediately explode, so that's new. More dampening on the rear. Alright, as much as I like the idea of it drifting, that rear end just fucking disappeared on me in the middle of that turn. I need better brakes. Not that good. Yes, brakes, not brakes. Okay, that was good. That was good. CVT design the same. No, this is a dual disc CVT design. The reason behind dual disc is because it's a little more compact and it gives us a lot larger gear ratios, basically. I haven't actually tested this for top speed. If it's anything like the prototype, it should be hitting like 230 miles an hour. Top speed. The prototype during testing, like the 0 to 60 was like 3.4 seconds. I don't think this is going to hit that now because we've added suspension and we've beefed it up quite a bit. Oh, Aki, I understand what you were saying. I'm going to stiffen the front suspension a little bit more. When I hit the brakes, that front end just wants to hit the ground. Yes. Yeah, I'll show it off in a second. I'm gonna get back to like the little hits. Ooh, okay. That's just I need more weight in the rear. That copper piece. I'm gonna turn back to carbon fiber. This one, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna put this one back. What? Okay, I see what's happening here. No. You are gonna go back to being carbon, or back to being... Hello, Robin. He just said no. No, thank you, please. Alright, as soon as I get back to the little pits area, we'll take a second, look at the vehicle, and then... nope. We'll get to the pits area, we'll take a look at things. Kind of explain how this engine works, how this transmission works. It's quite compact, quite effective. I'm not sure how much more potential a small block 4-cylinder could have in this game. That corner, for some reason, is just being problematic. I need better brakes. I can't stop or slow down for that turn. And when I do, I just crash. Possible to throw an electric motor on the engine output, like a Formula hybrid. It would be pretty easy to do that. I don't want to do that because the whole point of this is to like push the extremes of what I keep wanting to say inline four, but it's not. It's a boxer on this system. What a small block 4 can do in this game. That's the whole point of this. Is like how fast can you go with just 4 cylinders? And it's not even just raw speed, it's actual driving performance and everything involved in that. Okay, that one I crashed because the dirt. That was user error more than the car just not being able to handle what I needed it to. YouTube, thank you. I opened YouTube and it started playing a video. That's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to do something on my phone real quick. I could make a replica of like the first horseless carriages that are just a really big steam piston. Okay, what is going on? Even with this set to really low, as soon as I touched the steering, that thing just lost complete control. Problem is, I want the grip to be pretty high. Because I want to turn quick. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the the script mods and stuff right now. Yeah, like at this point, I'm at the limit. I'm just trying to dial it down so that it doesn't break every time I go around a corner. Like that. I think it's just I need more weight again. The rear end. Nope, the rear end. Nope, the rear end. There we go, that's getting better. I got too greedy. I should have slowed down more for that turn. I think now I can turn up the braking force a little bit because now I'm heavier. 660. Can someone put that in chat just in case we have to go back to it? Thank you. Oh, okay, nope. Too much. 680. I think at this point we could turn up turning speed. There we go. Just a hair too much, I think. Alright, so this is the corner that's been giving us the trouble. If we get through this, I think we're pretty much done with this vehicle for right now. I will eventually want to put a chassis on it, but for right now, nah, I'm not going to bother. Maybe another stream. I said we were going to look at the mechanics, and we just haven't, because I haven't made it back to the pit stop area, because we keep crashing it. Well, I want to hire, braking. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay, I might mess with that, but for right now. I'll look at the suspension, I'll explain it a little bit, but I'm not going to do like a tutorial right now. 160, 170, and brake. I could have made that corner if I had taken it a better line on it. Okay. We're going to turn in here. I want to save this and then explain some stuff. Ooh. Save. This is the Slip CVT Mark II, or Slide CVT. Slide CVT Racer 2.0. Okay. I'm going to do this just so we have a little bit to look at. Make it a little easier to fly around this thing. Okay. At the core of the suspension is these two double wishbones. They pivot here, and they connect to these balls. On their own, they just allow the wheel to move up and down. Your spring does, of course, what you think it is, the spring. I have this connected to a little angle limiter. This allows me to manually adjust like how much suspension I want there to be. It allows me to fine tune like the ride height and things like that. On the front of that, we have this little special steering piece. Or suspension piece, correct. Here it is. That is doing, I think, the Ackerman angle. Basically, the wheels tilt slightly differently depending on left and right. It's just a steering geometry thing. It's kind of hard to explain. There's better videos on it. Oh, the tire hop up is because it's hitting the sway bar. This is the sway bar. It doesn't actually do that in normal driving, just because the suspension normally isn't that low. It's usually compressed quite a bit. The rear suspension is just a straight axle. This whole axle here is solid. It just has two springs on it. And this little sway bar, not sway bar, I forget what the actual name is. Something linkage, if I'm correct. Anyway, what that does is it prevents the axle from moving side to side, like this way. It only allows it to move up and down and rotate. This isn't the best version of it, but it's more than enough for what we're doing here. This is a video game. A lot of cars use this kind of system. It limits it to vertical motion and rotational motion and does not allow it to move side to side. Front, double wishbone, back, solid axle. Here in the transmission engine, we have a little boxer 4. This goes into a centrifugal clutch that just allows it to engage right at its peak RPM. Peak RPM for this engine is 3,900. So 3,600 you get a little bit, 3,800 you get all of it. It locks into this, which has a few different things. One, the actual friction disc. This spins, the ball rolls on it, and these two balls are connected, so they spin together. This ball spins on a circumference around the wheel. So the best way I can explain this, let me grab the actual plate and a ball. The way this effectively works is it travels around a set circumference, a second circle. And as you move this ball in or out, the circle that it's rolling on gets bigger or smaller, depending on where that ball is actually rolling on that surface. It's effectively creating a gear ratio. The reason I have two of them is just because it gives me a larger range of gear ratios along both of these discs. This disc comes out, goes to a final drive, to this little gear, to this gear, basically give me a lot of torque. That goes out to the rear axle, differential, all that stuff. Two parts of the magic is this slides up and down, and that's how you change the gear ratios. And that movement up and down is controlled by these, which are dampeners that just make everything a little bit smoother. This is a linear actuator that's constantly pushing downwards with very little force and very little speed. That's just to help gravity push it back into its lowest gear. And then the thing that actually makes this work is right behind the centrifugal clutch is a pulley that goes to here. And this essentially reads the engine's output RPM, not the direct engine's RPM, but what the engine's actually putting to the wheels. Reads that RPM, and it says if the engine is going past its peak RPM, increase the gear ratio. If it's going below its peak RPM, stop shifting up. And when it stops shifting up, of course, gravity and the linear actuator take over and push it back down. So as we get it going, as I spin the wheels, there's no friction. So of course we're just going to immediately accelerate, and it's going to go, the engine's over revving, so it shifts up, it pulls it up. As soon as I let go, the RPM drops, and allows the transmission to go back down. So this, you'll notice the torque on it 0. As soon as I accelerate, it says the engine's over revving, so increase the gearing on the transmission. But if I were to, for the sake of showing this off, let's just lock the rear axle. Now that the rear axle is just not moving, the engine's always at full stress, so it never shifts up. So if I grab construction, slide CVT 2.0, just so I make sure I have a good version that doesn't have any quirks from where we were messing with it. I could tune this to be a little bit better, but real quick, for the sake of, let me find my scoreboard. And we're gonna do a little bit of testing. So acceleration is a big one that I've been using this CVT to try and get going. Let's see, let me get my little stopwatch going. Let's see what we can get our 0 to 60 time to. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm a little disappointed. I know why it's doing this. So we are right under the race CVT. We just hit 6.6 seconds, 0 to 60 time. I think if I tune this, so 6.6 is the time to beat. 3, 2, 1, go. .97 seconds. Three, two, one, go. That didn't work. Three, two, one, go. Now we're getting there. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. .9 seconds. .6 seconds. Because it is. Because the dampener, I turned the dampener down. That's why it's jumping. That, and I turned this up. So what if I turn the dampener down? And the power up. At 3, 2, 1, go. I'm not gonna actually do this, I just want to see the... Okay. Three, two, one, go. Oh, fuck. I don't even have the dang car started. Oops. 3, 2, 1, go. .69 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. .1 seconds. Yeah, it's not very smooth. I don't deny that. I'm actually curious, if I just did the dampening to like 100, would that help? No. Alright. Here's what I'm going to do. For right now, I'm just going to save this as it is. 2.1. And unfortunately, I am going to have to end the stream here. I do have some things I want to do later tonight, as well as I need to go get some food. So that being said, this has turned out pretty much perfectly. Like, yes, when I did the like 0 to 60, it didn't beat the race CVT. The race CVT is like a Boxer 8 big block. I do want to stream more gear blocks again. I do want to actually like tune this car a little bit and just get this to be slightly better, as well as run this through the scoreboard and just see where it lies compared to my other vehicles. Considering right now its acceleration. Here, let me put this into perspective. Let me find the race CVT. There's the race CVT. Here's it uploaded. This is a big block Boxer 8. And this is like... Here, let me grab the scoreboard. It's 2 seconds slower. But it's still faster than the supercar. Which is running a V6 big block. So this is a Boxer 4 small block that is faster than my old V6 big block and relatively competitive with my Boxer 8 F1 car. What are these actually? 1,400... 3... yeah, power to weight ratio. Yeah, it's no bodywork right now. So the next stream, I kind of want to mess around with maybe making some bodywork for this. If I add bodywork, I might also lighten it up a little bit. Just reduce some of the lead and stuff on the bottom. So, that being said, for right now, I do have things to go do. I'm going to end the stream here. Everything I set out to do in this stream, perfect. 100% perfect. The car is done. After this, we're going to just do some tuning and do some tuning, maybe bodywork, but I do want to just put this through the scoreboard, see where it lies, and we might design something around it. So with that being said, I am going to end it here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, peace. God damn it, Discord, get out of the way.